Hey, Jonathan here at TopSaw. I teach high school math and shop, and today I was going to go over the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers math portion of the application for the apprenticeship. So they have 5 sample math problems online. You could get to this packet in my description. I'll put this link to this packet in the description, and I'm just going to go over first a few techniques in taking a standardized math test. I have three techniques. Timing is really one of the most important because these are time tests. You don't want to frantically go through and make a lot of mistakes. You need to know that the easiest one has the same value as the hardest one. So don't spend a bunch of time on a hard one and miss an easy one. So the way you get good at timing is by really kind of practicing the exams. Number 2 is mark up the exam as much as you can so you don't make careless mistakes. Circle key ideas, and then if you spent too much time on that one problem, it's all marked up, so when you go back to it, you don't have to start it all over again. So my number 1 tip for multiple choice standardized math tests is make sure you're using good timing. I think there's like 30 problems on here in 45 minutes. So you have a little over a minute a problem. My second tip is mark up the exam as much as possible so that all your work is shown, you don't make careless mistakes. And number 3 is to check the answers and see if you could use the answers to figure out the problem. So a lot of times it's easier to sub in the answers to see if they make sense. So those are my 3 tips on a multiple choice exam, and then I'll go through these 5 sample problems that are online here. They're not too hard. A lot of it's patterns and functions. A big part of math is really just looking for patterns and figuring stuff out. And fractions, ratios, a part of it. There's a few other little math devices I'll just refresh for multiplying quantities and also order of operations. All right, so let's go here. So here's an answer sheet right here. So you can see there are going to be 4 possible answers, and then you're going to circle or bubble in the right one. Problem number 1 says consider the following formula. A is equal to B plus 3 times 4 minus C. If B equals 5, all right, so that's saying take that 5, plug it in there. And C equals 2, take that 2 and plug it in there. What's the value of A? So I need to evaluate this expression given a value of B and C. And I'm trying to figure out kind of like the point of this problem. The point of it is order of operations. So one way to remember order of operation is PEMDAS. And what that stands for is you do parentheses first, then you do exponents, then you do multiplication, then you do division, addition, subtraction. And that's kind of the point of this problem here. And that's kind of hard to see here. So I'm going to do my parentheses first. 4 minus 2 is 2. Then I'm going to do my multiplication. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 5, addition is my last operation, is 11. So 6 plus 5 is 11. And there's my answer, answer B. Okay, down here I have quantities all being multiplied together. I have x plus a number inside the parentheses and x minus a number times. So I have this quantity times this quantity. The thing to remember here, the way I remember this one is FOIL, that I do the first terms, then the outer terms, then the inner terms, and then the last terms. So FOIL means I multiply the first terms together. So x times x is x squared. The outer terms, negative 2 in x, is negative 2x. The inner terms of 5 times an x, and then the last terms of 5 times a negative 2, negative 10. Then I combine those similar terms, and I have x squared minus 2x plus 5x is plus 3x minus 10. So this quantity times that quantity is this thing here. And then there's a 3 out front. So I got to take that 3 and multiply it through that whole quantity to give me 3x squared plus 9x minus 30. And there it is right there, the first answer. So there's A. So you might not have seen these for a while, but again, PEMDAS is your order of operations. It means parentheses first, then exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. And then this FOIL is how you multiply these quantities together. You multiply the first term, the outer term, the inner term, and the last term, and then you combine similar terms, and then you have to distribute that 3 through that quantity. Okay, those are the first two. Let's move on to the third problem. The third problem is given a pattern, so I know it's hard to see this. So it's 110, 112, 107. So I'm just looking at the relationship. 110 to 112 is plus 2. 112 to 107 is minus 5. 107 to 109 is plus 2. 109 to 104 is minus 5. And then it says, what's the next number in the pattern? So that's going to be plus 2, which will be 106. So the next number in the pattern is 106. Answer C. Okay, down to number 4 here. Consider the following formula. A equals 1/2 B minus 4. And then it gives you all of these statements, and it's hard to even figure out what these things mean. So there's really nothing you could do with this problem. You got to go through every one of these answers and plug it in and see if it's going to hold true. So the equation is A equals 1/2 B minus 4. Answer A here says when the value of B is less than 8. So I got to pick a number less than 8. It can't be 8 because it has to be less than it. So something like 6. Then I have 6 times 1/2 is 3. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. A is negative. That's true. If I pick 7, I'd have 3.5 minus 4. It'd still be negative, so that's still going to hold true. Let me make sure the other ones do not work. When the value of B is greater than 8, like 10, 10 times 1/2 is 5 minus 4 is positive. That does not work. Value of B is less than 8. Well, I did that. A is positive. That doesn't work. When the value of B is greater than 4, A is positive. A number greater than 4 could be 20 times 1/2 is 10 minus 4 is 6. That is positive. That worked. But how about a number like 6? I already did 6 and I got a negative. So that does not work. So the only one that does work is answer A. So just kind of looking at patterns and kind of decoding what all these answers mean. And really the only way to do a problem like this is to read through these answers and see which one's going to hold true. Lastly, number 5, consider the following table. So this is plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. So these are all plus 1s. On the y side, negative 5 to get to negative 4 is also plus 1. This is also plus 1. So on the y side, they're all plus 1s as well. Okay, which of the following represents the same relationship as a table? Plus 10, plus 10, plus 10. Well, that doesn't work. So this is another one where you got to pick the answers and see if they work or not. This is an equation. I don't know if that's going to work. But we could try. So really what I'm doing here is I'm taking x values and plugging them in and see if they work. So when x is 0, 0 divided by 2 is 0, minus 5 is negative 5. That works. When x is 1, 1/2 minus 5 is negative 4.5. That does not work. Let's jump all the way down here to something like this. When x is 4, 4 divided by 2, 2 minus 5 is negative 3. That does not work. Y is the equivalent to the difference between the value of x and a constant c, where c equals 5. That's about the only one that does make sense. Man, figuring out what these words mean is kind of the key to this whole problem. Y is the equivalent, so that's y is equal to the difference between the value of x and a constant c, where c equals 5. So that's the answer. Let me just double check here and we'll go back and look at that some more. So this is clearly not constant increases because the slope changes. Because there's a change in slope, you can't have a constant, so it's not that. So it has to be C. So what it's saying here, again, y is equivalent to the difference between the value of x and a constant c. So the difference between these values is 5. That's where that 5 comes in. Negative 3 to 2 is 5. 6 to 1 is 5. 5 to 0 is 5. And that the equivalency is the difference in each step is the same on the x and y side. So this one's really, it's kind of a hard one, but it's kind of reasoning to work your way through it. Okay, well, those are 5 math problems on the apprenticeship exam for the electrical industry. Again, really work on your timing on these. I took some time to explain them. Mark up the exam the way I did. So if you have to go back, you see all your work, you don't make careless mistakes. And then check the answers. So these two, you got to work your way through, but on these over here, you're really taking the answers and plugging them in to see if they work, like on number 4 and number 5. So I hope that helped. Hopefully it helps a little bit. Preparation, watch some videos, review that math, and I'm sure you'll do great on the exam. Electrical working in the whole industry is a really nice career. So good luck. Thank you for watching.